Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tangent here on WildTangent's YouTube page. This is for episode 43. It's December 19th, 2019. We're almost through another decade. We've got Greggs and Brooks. We're back this week. Last week, we actually had a chance to go through and do a little bit of the Game Awards, yeah. So that was fun. That was actually something different. We hadn't done that before.
And I think next week we might be doing our own.
We are going to do our own, yeah.
Best of or favorite games, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so we'll do a little roundup of like what we thought was the best for 2019 in terms of we have multiple platforms we play on. We have PC, we do everything. Hey, Fixstar, how are you this week? So we've got plenty of games to pick from, and we're going to put some categories together and do some of that.
Yep.
This week, though, it's obviously a major holiday is coming up here next Tuesday, Wednesday. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So this will be our second to last show. Our last show being the one we were just discussing, where we'll do like a little bit of a rundown. And that'll be next Thursday. But this Thursday, we thought we'd play one of the games from the Game Awards show, which is the Game of the Year.
Yep.
Sekiro, which we both played earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. You actually were able to go through and do all that stuff, so you played through the entire game. I played through a good bit of it. I played on PC. You were on PS4.
Yes.
For this. So we figured we'd just take a look at that and kind of play that game and enjoy ourselves and check out and see why it got Game of the Year. And Brooks has already dug in. He's going through and causing some trouble, so let's jump over there. We're not even going to do game news this week because game news, it was kind of quiet. It was actually a pretty laid-back week. I mean, everybody's got all their big titles out of the way. Sony announces some weird, like, controller piece randomly on a Tuesday afternoon.
On their blog or whatever, which I pre-ordered, but...
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously it hits certain folks right at home. They want to buy it, and you picked one up.
Yeah, I ordered a couple.
I'm going to fix that screen real quick. Now you're in frame. You weren't even in frame before. It was like Brooks looked like.
I just kind of thought you were the star of the show.
Well, you know, when you show up to work and run the show, it's a big deal.
Are you talking about me or you?
Yeah.
And as you can see, I'm kind of already amazing at this game.
Yeah, so. Brooks is already rolling through. Started a new game, so this is right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, We skipped kind of the cutscene that basically introduces the setting of the game. This
is feudal Japan.
And we have a weapon, right?
Yeah. We were an assassin, essentially. Isn't that how it works out?
Yeah, you're...
And we lost an arm. And we got a crazy arm. It's like a wooden assassin arm.
I don't actually think that's happened yet. That's about to happen.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, I think Homeboy is about to come chop that off.
It's a beautiful game. It actually it's from the creators of. I mean, we'd heard a lot about this on the Game of the Year last week, or the award show, but it's from Software. That's the developer. They do they've perfected a lot of this kind of beat 'em up style hack and slash mechanics.
Yeah.
You know, you have certain check marks within the areas of their games, and then once you get to those checkpoints, you have these not excruciating but very difficult staged enemies that you have to go through to get to the next checkpoint. And you can go in various routes, and they just build up the difficulty so it can be very tough and relentless on you if you're not really used to that kind of gameplay.
Yeah, usually I've very commonly heard from many people that the first time they bump into a From Software game, you don't totally know what you're getting into.
Correct.
The games can be From Software, the developer of these games.
Yep.
They make Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, this game. They're known for games that are very
Yeah,
call
Brooks
them
is pretty good at the game,
melee
for sure.
combat heavy.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
then
for sure.
and then each game that they do, there's usually some kind of way that they kind of twist up the gameplay or change it up a little bit, whether it's like dodging or rolling, or they added magic.
They fine-tune each mechanic, and they add in something different. Like in this game, your character can leave the ground.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That was a unique thing in Sekiro that none of the other From Software games in the same genre you were able to do. They worked with, well, Activision published this game.
Yep.
So they work with a lot of different publishers, but the games themselves, sometimes they will publish the game, sometimes they will work with a partner, sometimes they will work with a major console like PlayStation on Bloodborne and Demon Souls.
Yep.
So these are different games, all kind of in that same wheelhouse, let's call it that.
Yep.
And they all have something unique. So in Bloodborne, it was like you had ranged weapons.
Yep.
Which you had not had in other games within their wheelhouse, the same wheelhouse. In Dark Souls, they built upon the expertise because they had 3 of those, plus Demon Souls was the Sony exclusive.
Yep.
That came out on the PlayStation 3 originally. So there's a lot of variations that they go through, and they tweak everything and fine-tune the combat. But in general, the difficulty's consistent. The latest one that they launched outside of Sekiro was this year, but From Software had another game launch, which was Code Vein. A little bit different type of game. Although,
was that From Software? I know it was Bandai Namco.
Yeah, From built it though. They were the developer.
Code Vein was?
Yeah.
Are you certain of that?
Am I wrong?
I think so. Yeah. Sorry.
Am I wrong on that? Huh. Let's see. Bandai Namco did do it. I thought it was a From Software game. I thought From had built it or developed it. That goes to show I had no idea what was going on in that. Bandai Namco Studios.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, the game is identical to From Software games. I really thought that was developed by From Software at the onset. I thought that they were the ones that were doing it, and then Bandai. Well, I didn't even know Bandai Development Studio. I knew they published it.
Because that's who typically Bandai Namco has published a lot of From's other games.
They have in the past.
Right.
That's true.
So,
but I thought that they had actually had them work with them on it. But that's crazy. I mean, the game is identical.
Yeah.
To it. Ridiculous.
Out of every game that From has developed, and I have not finished all of them. I came to Dark Souls a little bit later through, like, once you kind of got us into Bloodborne, then I went through and played, like, Bloodborne, all of that, Souls 3, all of that. I have 1 and 2, like 1 remaster and 2 remaster. And for me, it was a little tough to go back because there's some quality of life stuff, and just visually the games, like, 3 looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So when you go back and you play 1.
Oh, here's the bigger battle. Yeah, when you go backwards, it's a little different. I mean, you can see the difference between, like, 3, right? When you play 3, it's kind of where they fine-tuned essentially everything they were doing in the games. When you play 2, there was this thing that they were trying to do where they were trying to make it a much larger experience than 1.
Right.
Right? 3 kind of ultimately, there went the arm. Ultimately, 3 provided the epitome of that series.
3 was my favorite From game until this came out,
Yeah.
and I consider this to be my favorite now. And that's not to say I don't like Bloodborne, because I do.
Yeah.
3 has an element to it where, like, you've got the jewelry part of the game, you've got your armor. Because in Bloodborne, you kind of just use what you want to use. But 3 brings this concept of, like, weight into the game. In Bloodborne, you can kind of put on the heaviest stuff, and it makes no difference. Right. You can put on the huge stone hammer or the wooden sword, and they both weigh the exact same thing as far as the user's concerned.
In Bloodborne?
Yeah. Weight's not in the game.
Swing is, though.
Swing is,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the one element.
That's what I was trying to figure out how you.
But that's the one element I really liked about 3 was they added that concept of weight and the jewelry and the rings and the chains and that type of stuff.
Yeah, on what you could run with, or your speed or your roll, or anything like that.
Yeah, so you could kind of, having played Bloodborne, I liked that extra level of depth where I was in charge of, like, hey, you wanna move faster? You can strip this dude down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have that.
That isn't to say that Bloodborne 2, I mean,
we would hope
we'll beat the drum on that one. So.
Now, there's his new arm.
There's an element of this.
I don't even know if that's a real arm. That's a bone and some, I don't know what that is.
The element of this game that I really liked, and I think, we even might have talked about this on one of the shows, where when this game came out, all the From games get, I don't want to say criticized, but there's a general venting of how difficult they are on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
I think all the time at the beginning there's that, like, there's a huge difficulty level and some people can get through it or not.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. I will give you this. These games probably didn't become as popular with the general population until Sekiro. They were always very at the launch of the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got popular as people talked about them, but Sekiro, this had massive pre-orders. This was ready to go. People wanted to play it. People had never.
This
played
had like an Activision marketing budget, multi-platform.
Exactly.
Every machine that could play it got a deployment on there, right?
Yeah. So to your point, yes, there's always a initial uprising, but it's not. It's more, all games before Sekiro, it was more like excitement around how difficult it was.
Yeah.
Sekiro got a little bit different reception.
Yeah, and that's a good point about why that this was probably the game that, from a marketing perspective, you look at it and you're like, dude, it looks like Tenchu or whatever.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, I mean this game graphically is superior to all other From Software games.
But then a lot of people got the game and were, let's stream this, let's play this, and like, there's people stuck on boss 1 and boss 2, right?
Not understanding how the mechanics of the games play.
Right. And then, but see that, which leads into my point that we went into this thinking, we were like, okay, it's going to be like a Souls game. And then you start playing it, and then you realize you kind of have to throw your old
it's not the same. I mean, certain things stay around. You have a flask.
Yeah.
It's just something else. It's not Estus, it's not blood, it's whatever this one was. I forget.
But you can't dodge and roll your way into victory in this game. You really have to head-to-head combat. And then at that,
you have your fire, what the hell do they call those? The bonfires. This is the bonfire right here.
Yeah.
Your little, whatever that Buddha statue kind of thing is.
Idol.
So, I mean, those are similar components to it. But yeah, the dodging, the hook, the ability to use things differently. Wasn't there stances in this one?
A little bit later, you start
yeah.
dealing with, you've got different weapons, and where you going, boss?
You're gonna sneak up on him. Yeah, it is a really amazing game, Fixstar. If you've never seen anybody play these types of games, you know, to the point Brooks brought up, they can be incredibly difficult if people have never played them before. So their initial like kind of their initial experience or impression is somewhat clouded a little bit by the overwhelming difficulty level that it can pose. Because it's not built to rush through. You can after you get really good at it. You know where the enemies are, you know how to handle them. You can speed run things. There are people that, I guess, to go back even further in this kind of mechanic, like initially on the original Dark Souls game, not Demon Souls, but Dark Souls, there was a file that you could extract out of the folder that a guy had made a website for that you could drop in, you could send your file up or upload your file, and it would basically read the data and would tell you how many times you died, and you know, there's some other, I think they got a little bit more advanced later on, and ultimately you would find out like you'd die like 500, 600, 700 times before you'd beat the game.
Yeah.
And you always come back and you can start back over, but you lose things. Like there's experience essentially you lose from playing the game. That if you die and you haven't saved or even used it, then you lose that experience. You can always go try to retrieve it or basically kill the guy that killed you or the enemy that killed you to be able to get the experience back. But that's like one of the risk and reward kind of things. Like the more experience you have, or the more you're on a kill spree or on a roll, you know, the less likely you are to go back and like bank that experience or use it. So you're always risking what you have already to get more because you're feeling your run is much better, or you've got something down pat, or you're able to get past a boss, or you just push a little bit further to the next idol in this game, or bonfire in Dark Souls, to get further and further to unlock something new. So it's kind of the idea of the games themselves. And then you tack on the difficulty level. It can be quite frustrating for somebody that never has played it because it doesn't hold your hand. The difficulty doesn't change. There's no hard level, there's no easy level, there's no story mode.
And then in this one you can't even farm XP because your health bar and your stamina bar are based on items that bosses drop. So in the past you could go run around.
Yeah.
And you could be like, well, I'm a little stuck, so I can get a little more power, a little more health, kill some guys, bank some XP, go from there. This game, it was like, well, damn, the only way to farm or get additional stamina or health or whatever is by killing the thing that you're probably stuck on. Right.
Yeah, just kind of banging your head against the wall, as people say, until you break the wall with your head, and then you can move forward. That's kind of how it works. There's a lot of story stuff, too, just like Brooks picked up there. It's like little things that are hidden throughout the level that you'll find that either sometimes help or give you a little bit of an idea of what's happening in the game, because they don't tell you a lot.
No.
We know we've lost an arm, and we know that we were trying to protect what, an emperor or a child emperor?
Yeah. It's like either like a dude who's like in charge of the throne or an heir to the throne, or something like that.
I think it was, yeah. So that's about the beginning of the game, and then you get a little bit as you go, and you find little tidbits. Like in Dark Souls, you actually had to look on, what was it, the weapons?
Yeah.
To find out the story.
Yep.
Of what was going on. It was crazy. Like, it's very hidden, and you know, all the things that you come to learn are really nuanced, and it's not spoon feeding you information. All you know is like, I gotta kill this next boss. And most people can get by with that just fine after they learn the way the boss moves. But to really understand the stories, you actually have to do a lot of a lot of searching for clues and different items within the game.
And that's kind of our first mini-boss in the game.
That was good. He was blocking the wall, basically.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the other fun aspects of this is your mini-bosses and your bosses. They've got these, they have a certain number of health bars. So if you kind of know how to approach, or you can approach them stealthily, you can get a perilous attack on them. And very promptly, some of these fights where it's like, man, I got to chew through 3 bars of health. You can run up to that guy who had 2 bars of health, perilous attack from sneak, and that basically chops his health bar in half.
Right.
So there's a lot of, like, as you play the game and you're running through the world and dealing with everything, that the game kind of slowly teaches you various ways to kind of approach all situations.
Yep.
So let's see here.
The hook was unique in this one.
Yes.
Being able to get to heights and you start using it as a weapon, or at least to grab guards and things like that. I mean, there's different reasons to have it.
In the past, From's other games are very horizontal.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that you don't go up or down anywhere. That just means
The levels themselves are vertical as well, but your character's ascent is very horizontal.
yeah.
Yeah. There's no flying in the air. There's no quickly maneuvering from one level to another. So that was an additional one? Or was that just teaching you should use it? The healing gourd, I forget how it was. I think that was just teaching you to use it.
Yeah,
Because you were pretty low on health. Yeah.
our next, I'm trying to remember where the next idol is.
And
I don't-
It's past this. I think it's on the other side of that wall.
I don't remember what. Oh, there we go. There's Sprint. Oh, I forgot about the dude with the bomb.
Yeah, the cannon or whatever he's firing. Oh, now we're in trouble. And there's always ways to retreat. I mean, if you really get down to it, you can always kind of work your way back, because enemies don't appear until you reset the world by, you know, praying at the idol in this case, or kneeling in front of the idol at this case. That will reset the enemies in the world, except for the bosses.
Yeah, so each time you rest.
Yes,
Yeah.
the rest. Yeah, that's the way to say it.
So let's see here. I forgot there were dogs right here.
Yeah, they kind of come through. So, like, now the enemies that Brooks took out beforehand are now back. I never understood the roosters. I know that there has to be something about them.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was.
And you do have NPCs that you'll run into. Like,
Yeah.
just characters that you're talking
The
with.
story in this game is certainly told a little more directly.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, there are like cutscenes in the game that kind of just give you exposition. In the past, some of the games are like the story, like you got to go read into the weapons and read into the books and the lore, and then there's this whole thing, and you're just like, as far as I knew, it was like Prince blah blah blah, who's actually this other dude in charge, and there's a whole backstory in it.
Much different.
So let's see here. So that dude.
Much different kind of... The gameplay is a lot different if you really dig into things.
Yeah.
Right? It's a totally different game if you, like, go search for everything. If you're just playing to play and beat each enemy and just kind of kill everything, you have a different experience than somebody that, like, searches for all the little nuances and little clues and secrets and things like that. Because you will play through areas over and over again. Nice. open it up. God, the world looks so good.
Yeah. It also runs really well on PC. It doesn't run this well on PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm curious if we're getting like 60 frames. I think so.
Certain we are.
Obviously, it's it's made for different I think the only platform it didn't come out on was Switch. I don't think they had it on. But it came out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And I played on PC. I was quite happy with it. I was having a good time. It played well with controller, obviously. I don't think these games play all that well with keyboard and mouse. There are ways to play them, but like Demon Soul or Dark Souls was almost broken when they first launched it.
I don't know. There's a lot of this game that's I'm trying to controlling the camera with the mouse and having a couple buttons.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you've got like one of those like a Razer or a Logitech mouse,
Yeah,
where
sure. You could have like a more
something like that. I could see how you would really want. It feels designed for a controller.
Yeah. Oh, I think that most of their games are designed for it. I think that obviously they do their best to add in like however mouse and keyboard will work best, but it just becomes really difficult to play the game with mouse and keyboard. And I know there's somebody out there that's going to go, no, it's easy. This is how I played through all the 3 games or 4 games and never died once. And,
right.
But not me. I have to use controller. You're working your way back. Yeah, the aerial attacks in that really kind of change the way the gameplay works. And then there's hidden areas. It's not apparent which way to go all the time.
Yeah, by design,
right?
There's not a thing that's like you can't
like
click
this
a button
is the
and
next path.
Here's the path to go to or whatever.
Yeah, there's some stuff that is hidden way off of the beaten path where you might see something weird in the distance and you're like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then eventually you find out you can get to that.
Definitely.
But it's not really as easy as you think. Now, in this one, can you stealth into the weeds? Wasn't there that?
You can be in stealth, but once they see you,
right,
you have to lose sight of them by actual line of sight, not by just jumping into the bushes. Oh, kind of forgot about that dude.
Yeah, there you go. Quick retreat and pull some strategy together.
Yeah, well, we farmed enough XP for a skill point, so we're gonna go get a skill.
God, the ability to travel quickly with that rope and that, oh, that was nice in this game.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones could be a slog. I mean, you'd sit there and have to run from one area to another.
Definitely.
Oh, man. I remember that. And there's a lot of games from Software, obviously, as we talked about with Bandai Namco doing Code Vein. They're not the only ones that do these games, but damn, they're one of the best. Because there's games like there's an MMO that's online called Let It Die.
Uh-huh.
It's a fun game. We've played that. There's The Surge, which we played on the show, and The Surge 2.
Mm-hmm.
Those games are from not Codemaster. Oh, they're from European dev.
Also do Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, they also do Lords of the Fallen. Why can't I think of their name?
My name, I am. What?
I know who they are too. Jeez, I can't think of them.
So
I'm looking it up right now, but they have, you know, 2 or 3. They have 3 games under their belt now that play similar to this.
yeah,
So I mean, there's companies coming up with new ways to attack this, and then there's some other games that kind of, I mean, almost Zelda, Breath of the Wild fell into this category.
we talked
just
we talked about it
lightly.
a little bit, where the combat was more like strategic, and
Yeah.
enemies could heavily block against you, and you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
had to dance with them a little bit more.
From Software, or sorry, for Lords of the Fallen and the Surge and Surge 2, that's CI games.
That's right.
Yeah. Those guys working this too. And then there's other, you know, variations of this. There's indie games that do this type of mechanic. There's all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Trying to look up some other examples. Actually, CI did not do Surge 2. That's Focus Home Interactive.
Okay.
Yep. That's who did that one. Did they do the Surge as well? I thought they did. Yeah. Deck 13 was the dev. Focus Home Interactive. And then Lords of the Fallen, which is a more high fantasy style, was Deck 13 is the dev. The same dev worked on both of them, different publishers.
Okay.
CI did that one. And then Focus Home Interactive did the Surge franchise. Now, what did we just do there? You,
So I went through from the mini boss dropped a seed. So the seeds, what you can do is one of the ways the game somewhat limits you up front
hey, thanks for stopping in, Diaz.
is on top of having to learn where the enemies are at, your path,
Yep.
how to fight. Your ability to heal is also very limited up front. And as you play more, you can collect these seeds, and when you trade in your seeds, as you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen, we now have 2 heals to use. And then what we also did was we went through and we got a new tool as well. So on top of a sword, now we've got some ninja stars or shurikens. And we don't have 4 of them yet, but once you collect 4, basically each boss drops part of a necklace. Once you collect 4 pieces,
Yep.
he'll make you a new necklace, which increases your maximum amount of health.
Right.
So,
And sometimes you'll go back and forth in an area a lot just because you're dying, living, dying.
yeah, well, so what we also did was we bought a new skill.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember how to. Let's see. Why? Okay. But it used spirit emblems. That's right. This game has the spirit emblems as well to actually use. Because up front, you're not swimming in them
Right.
until you can start really cruising your way through the game a little bit.
Here's your rooster.
Oh, what the rooster does
Yeah.
was if a rooster screams, he alerts all the enemies in the area.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
That's what
he's
it-
like
that's what
the
it is.
what was it, the crier or the witch in the third one, in Dark Souls 3, where she would scream out and that would alert everybody around
Right.
her. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I enjoyed playing this. I think the thing I like about this most is the boss design.
Yeah.
In Bloodborne, I mean, all these games have awesome boss design to them, but this game in particular, they went really wide with the type of stuff that you fight. So you go from demons to giant animals to ninjas to, I mean, there's some stuff that's, you fight a couple bosses that are the size of like, not like buildings, but like stories of buildings, right?
What's that, snake?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's there's a giant, you know, say world serpent because that's
Yeah, no, that was God of
but-
War, but
yeah.
similar idea. I don't know if we'll get that far in the game. Actually, not that far.
I don't think we'll get to the snake tonight.
Yeah. Here, we can put it on full screen, let everybody see. Sorry, that might have moved your... I moved that mouse, that might have moved your actual camera in the game. There it is, running in its full glory. And you can bypass enemies,
Oh, most definitely.
right? You don't have to fight everybody you see.
I would probably argue there's times when you're forced to bypass certain enemies, right?
Yeah, I would say that
So
as well.
let's see, how do we... Snooze you lose. So the ogre's gonna be around the corner here.
Yeah, the one that I had. This guy I had trouble with. Eventually I figured out how to take him out, but
I think everybody had trouble with him up front.
he's a little aggressive with his swings.
There's the idol. Okay, so there's gonna be, so there's one up top, two.
I'm gonna probably go grab another water before they lock that stuff up. Do you want one?
No, thank you.
Okay. Right. information on the website. Oh, right. Sorry, folks.
I'm trying to figure out where the ogre went.
Where did he go? Did you set him off and now he's like wandering around?
I have no idea where he's at.
Did he fall off? That would be awesome.
I didn't get rewards. As far as I know.
Like if you tried to reset it and he's not
I was trying
you haven't done
around
that
trying to
yet.
figure it
Gotcha.
out, but...
He hasn't gone for 2. I went up there to get a drink. They already had it all shut down.
Take my again.
You're gonna have to tap, I guess.
I'm telling you. I will be the first to say WeWork has gone downhill since we started here. They have their company has just basically done like an alt and went the other direction.
Right.
And it is disappointing. So a death. First death?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have rezzed, but there's reasons not to res.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think this battle really was the one that most people complained about. I think this shocked a lot of players. Like, they could put up with all the other nonsense that they could run through it. This guy stops your progress flat out.
Yeah.
You cannot move forward until you take out this ogre. And this is where I think people new to the kind of From Software world of hack and slash beat 'em ups, like this is where the dream ended for some folks. They just did not understand the difficulty level that there could be, that you couldn't get around the character. It was just a lesson, right? And like, here's the way actually you play these. Because there was like petitions online and there was tweets about like, hey, you need to make it easier or accessible for all players.
Well,
and while that's reasonable, that's not the way the games are built.
right.
They're not meant for that. They're not.
I guess what I took issue with especially was I have no problem vocalizing you think a game should be made easier or harder.
Yeah.
But then people under the guise of usability for anyone with a like true disability started using them as well. They can't beat the game,
Correct.
so you're discriminating, blah 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 blah, and
Everything went off the rails at that point, and there was an argument.
That's kind of what I mostly took issue with.
Yeah. And you know, at that point, it really becomes if you can't beat the game and all you want is a story basically told to you or shown to you, then why don't you just watch Twitch or YouTube or something and watch somebody play it?
Or Big Dog and kill half his health before he
get him.
sees you.
But I mean, that's one of the factors of these games. They're built to be extremely difficult and punishing. If they were anything else, and I'm not trying to defend those positions, if somebody has a disability, obviously it's not their fault that they can't play the game, but
Certainly.
to the fact of just engaging a like auto skip of this boss, potentially, at that point you probably enjoy it better watching somebody play the game, because this is probably 70% of the game are the bosses,
Yeah.
the battles, and what it takes to get through them. it's how the game mechanic is built.
And I mean, ooh, this is going to be even a tough one to do
Drag him
without.
around.
This is going to be a tough one to do without sound because one of his cues on
Is
his
a
throw
yeah.
is based on a sound that he makes. So,
We're putting like
oh, and we
making
are,
it a little bit tougher on him.
as you can see, we are out of potion.
Yeah, the gourd is
Kind
dried.
of, it's kind of bad news. Are we?
There's a lot of work in like moving the enemy into positions,
Right.
Right.
Most definitely.
keeping distance from enemies. That's another tactic. There's tactics left and right in the games that you can
Oh,
come
he
up
got
with.
his health back. Oh. Considering I have no health and no res, we're gonna go get it back.
Yeah, there's no reason to go and try it over and over again when you know you're just going to fail. That was always my factor. I'd just restart.
Right. Right.
You know when there's certain points that you're just missing the cues or...
There's even a time on your way, if you kind of make some mistakes, you're like, no, this isn't the run.
Right, exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, when you
probably-
take one hit and you're like...
Probably should start over, but I
eh,
won't.
keep at it. The one-hit kills were definitely easier to hit in Sekiro on standard enemies than on, I think, some of the Dark Souls ones, where
The-
you had to do the backstab.
Yeah, the backstab in Bloodborne in particular, this game, there's a posture meter that
Yeah.
that outright explains to you how close you are from doing it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, Fixstar, these are, I mean, the game controls in these games are very precise.
Definitely.
You
Like,
can't blame the controls for...
the hitboxes are precise
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's... I was just responding back. They were saying good game control. Yeah, I mean, it's very fine-tuned. You can't sit there and blame it for your failures.
Well, that's definitely one of the things about it, that if the game is not artificially difficult. It's not difficult because guys have a zillion health points and you die in one hit.
Right.
Right. It has a lot to do with you slowly learn.
Yep.
Even now, I'm having to recall. Okay, like here's how you do things. Here's how you run. Here's how you dodge. Here's
Yeah,
how you
I
can
mean,
quickly-
it's not going to come right away. I mean,
Right.
you have to learn all the different mechanics to be able to do it. The timing, you know, there's so many frames as always in anything. And
Right.
A roll or a swing or how far you are away from an enemy or what they're...
They even did something that I really appreciated, where when this game came out, I wasn't pressing up against bosses as fast as the internet was,
Yeah.
but the internet was finding kind of some, we'll call them cheeses to bosses, where you could
Yeah.
you could get guys to walk off the edge, and they were coming in and they were hot fixing the cheeses like a lie.
Yeah, they didn't want people to be able to get through this. And you know, there are some known ones from other games that they've never patched or never fixed.
Right.
And I think it wasn't a choice. It's just how you handle it. And I think at some point, or at one point or another, they looked at it like, well, you know, somebody found this is their way, you know, we're not going to take this away from them. But then in this game, I think it was Activision was really on them about it, because they wanted it to be notorious, right?
Right.
That's how they market. So they didn't want like the ability to get around something. They wanted it to be like, okay, make it punishing. Where'd he go? Is he behind that wall? Nope, he's behind you. And if you can see right above where Brooks just ran up, there's like a little like cloud.
Yeah.
That's what opens up. Once the boss is dead or defeated, that opens up and allows you to progress further. This boss is a true boss of the level because you cannot bypass him at all.
Correct. Where's he at?
Yep.
Wow.
Ooh, he's a little mobile.
Yeah, he is.
I would love to do that one time where it's like, oh, go through your favorite bosses from software titles.
Sure.
Right? And kind of
Definitely.
the top 10 enemies. I know that people do those all the time, but everybody has a different take on it. And like experiences from those, there are some that are just relentless, and probably the number one that I can think of. Oh, it was in Bloodborne. It was in the Old Hunters DLC. It was the last and final boss. Can't think of the name off the top of my head now. But that boss was probably the most punishing one I'd ever went through.
And then Demon of Hatred appears in this game.
Yeah.
It's probably... So in a lot of the games, there's bosses that are, I don't know, what do you want to call them? There's bosses you have to get through, and then there's kind of these like optional or like secret bosses.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There was a few in other ones that they've done.
Yeah, there's a couple in this game in particular that are I would probably argue that are so tough, they make them optional.
Sure.
Yeah, like if you go look at the PlayStation trophy list,
Yeah.
it's not like 1%, it's like 0.1% on it, right?
Yeah, no, there's some that you make really difficult. The Orphan of Kos was the one that I was thinking of from Bloodborne Old Hunters DLC. That boss, oof.
But I will say, one of the there's nothing more frustrating when you get stuck. But in your quest to beat him, once you tackle him, it's a very fulfilling thing.
Oh yeah, no,
right?
You feel amazing when you get through something that you've been stuck on for 2 days. Oh, there you go.
It's a big dog.
Nice. Yeah, there's one point. So it's so funny in the strategy of the Orphan of Kos Old Hunters DLC final boss. The strategy they have is dodge, 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 heal, dodge, 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 dodge. That's all the strategy says. There's no like, go here, go behind them, do this, do that. It is just a relentless onslaught of attacks. Trying to punch you. I hear the party going on. Thing out there.
The Snowflake Lane.
Yeah, the Snowflake Lane. Don't let him grab you. Hey, Baltimore, what's up, man? How was work? Are you done with work today? Or you working tonight with the new job? Oh, and then you get to this point. You're like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Guy's got like a homing beacon on you. Just look at that. Big swings.
Ooh, that was not what
Oh yeah, no worries, Baltimore.
Yeah, see, I was doing fine, and then you were like, oh,
Yeah,
you
well,
got
that's
this.
how it works.
You got this, right? Great.
Oh, it just takes so little of your of his time. Oh! There's this smackdown right there. Oh, nice, he resurrected. That lunging jump. Alright, let the champ take a swing at this. I don't know if I'll do much better. It's been a while. Alright, let me get my bearings. Okay, where's my...
Well, so one of the things about it is a lot of people didn't know up front that you could clear out the 3 enemies, lose sight of him, and stealth him.
Yeah.
So a lot of people approach this when you have to chip through him twice. But if you can get yourself a couple of heals and keep your res, you really only have to take down 1 health bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's like ultimately the best way to do it is to try to get what you need in quick. Wait, what am I doing? It's taking me a bit to get used to this. Nope.
Is the champ here live?
To the face. How do we grab coins?
Let's see the control. X.
It's been a while.
So I play on so much on PlayStation.
Okay, this is going to be a really sad test. So here, people would go up and start attacking them like right away, but actually, to Brooks's point, this is the guy you want to get rid of.
Yeah, if you can,
Because he'll come out of nowhere. And
if you can mitigate the dude with the spear, who's can be just as dangerous as the ogre himself.
Yeah, because he will come out of nowhere and just stab you in the back about 3 times in succession. Just gonna toy with him until I get enough courage to take a swing. Oh, let's come down here. So what was this? That's the block.
L1 is block, and then tap L1 is parry. You've got R2 is hook.
The hook is R2.
And then R1 is swing, and then B is dodge.
Wait, that's not right. Am I on the wrong thing down here?
What are you trying to do? Oh.
I wasn't trying to drink, but that's okay. I was just trying to get, like, where's my hook at?
R2?
No. I have the shuriken.
L2?
Oh. Well, we're going to have to beat him without anything. Oh, there he is. Okay, never mind.
This is the champ here live, everyone.
Yeah. Never mind, okay. I don't know why. I can't find the hook.
Maybe it's L2.
I tried that too. Let me see it right. Alright, come on. You have to kill him. Oh, a couple swings. Some of these bosses you want to work in close. God, I remember that on like pretty much everyone in Bloodborne or Dark Souls was the same. You just wanted to get as close in as you could.
Well, one thing that makes this boss particularly fun is the game spends the first couple hours teaching you parry, 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 parry.
Oh, yeah.
And then this dude, you can't parry.
Yeah.
So everything you've kind of learned up until this point kind of goes out the window.
Oh, he's angry. Just look at the anger. Oh, elbow drop. Get away from it. Till I can figure out the hook thing, I'm not going to be able to do too much damage. I can't figure it out. Get away from me. I'm just gonna manhandle it the whole way through here. Oh, oh, here it comes. Oh. He's got this like amazing lunge.
Yeah.
And man, is it a tough one to get away from. Let's see, where else did we go? Oh, no, again. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Oh, I screwed it up though. It is L2. For some reason, it wasn't firing off like earlier. I don't know why. Nope. Well, we might get one of his health bars down. Here's that move. Okay, well, we got one down, but that doesn't really help us, especially where we're at. And the thing about it is, well, what I will always say is you just can't get greedy.
Yeah, right.
When you think you're doing well.
That's where mistakes are made.
That's where they'll get you every time. Okay. Now he's like, I'm on to you. I know what you're trying to do here. You just hear the tapping. It's like tap, 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 tap. You get one swing here and there. What's he doing? What am I supposed to do there? Why am I not like getting the...
I don't recall.
I'll figure it out. Well, on the third try, I'll figure it out. Oh, almost greedy. Oh, very greedy. That was almost horrendous. And now I'm like getting like one swing on him because he's angry. He's like in his fourth stage. I don't even know if there was too many stages beyond that. Could have probably got him like 2 or 3 times there. Just don't trust him on that one move.
On the lunge.
Yeah, boy, that thing is... Reach is just so far. And that right there. That's a nasty one. Ooh. I really swung early there.
Go for the kill.
How do I do it?
Just go up, hit him.
There we go.
Nice job. No heals on that too.
Ooh, there we go. All right.
Oh no, you can.
No. I just was doing it for you. No, Brooks is much better at this one than I am. I just got lucky there. I don't know why. I didn't think I was going to get anywhere near because we had like what, 1/10 of the health bar, and then we had like no heals.
You pointed out something that I forgot about, that it's actually better to fight him up close and dance around him that way.
with all characters. I mean, or with all enemies in these games. There's not many that I play that I'm not like right on their ass. That's the only way I play in these games. It's too difficult to play for me at a ranged level. And Bloodborne was really the game that threw me in that.
Okay.
When it wanted you to play ranged, and they give you, and we've laughed about this, there's like 10,000, well, not 10,000, there's like 30 different ways you can play the game. 30 different type of skill sets and character and things like that. But I only ever play one. And it's basically just give me the biggest weapon, the least amount of armor, and I'm just gonna go and just smash them. I've never done the magic.
The fastest. I would even throw the caveat. You always play really fast weapons.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never done ranged. I've never done magic or any of that stuff.
But yeah, so we're significantly further than I got the first night I played this game. I was stuck on that ogre for a minute.
Oh yeah, no, I was too, for sure. I think that's, in terms of like the timing, that's the amazing thing is, for some reason it's muscle memory or whatever. you remember the timing of things.
Right.
And you start to like know, oh yeah, like I have to dodge, you know. The one that I got stuck, I can't even remember the enemy that I got stuck on in this game.
I thought we got a seed out of that. Did we not? Maybe it was just a bead.
Yeah, it might have just been the bead.
If you want more, you'll need this. No.
Dark Souls 3 is still my favorite of From Software. Baltimore was saying, it's like, this is another great one has yet to get into, but he's still got to finish Dark Souls 3. That was my favorite out of all of them. This game is really good though, but the only thing I didn't like about this, and we talked about it, was like not being able to co-op with friends.
That's what I really like about the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the co-oping in the game's pretty amazing. In Dark Souls 3, sorry. I really enjoyed that. And that one I played for at least a month. I know that.
Okay.
Because I went through and did everything to get like the platinum trophy on the PlayStation.
When we were first playing this game, up front, because at some point they announced, they were like, there's no multiplayer. And we were like, okay, that sucks. And with the way that the bosses are designed, I get their explanation, right?
Yeah.
Since the game is so parry heavy, if you had two and one person was sitting there being the parry guy, the other person would just sit there and just whittle every single boss down.
I can see can see that.
So I get it, right?
I still think Activision told them, don't do it, make it the hardest game out there at the time, and then that's how we're going to market it, and we're going to like live off of the social media. Or something to that effect, because the game is extreme. Like, these are the neat parts right here. We were talking about like the shortcuts and the hidden spots.
Yeah.
What Brooks just did right there. Who would want to jump off a cliff?
Right.
Right, to go find something. Not too many people after you lose your progress. Yeah, the co-op is, Baltimore said the same for him. Yeah, the co-op is really a big thing in the Dark Souls games. Bloodborne as well. That's how we really, when we played Bloodborne, it was you and myself and John.
Yeah.
And we played through it, all three of us, through every boss, through each person's, playthrough, and had a great time doing that. And it was really fun. Now, who's down there?
So here's a secret boss. We absolutely do not have what is necessary.
Right, because you die when you go down.
You need confetti paper to fight this guy. Right. So, and right now, we don't have that. So this dude I have not seen someone beat him without confetti paper. I don't know that you can.
I remember. Don't you die down there? There's like a poison or something?
It slows you down when you're down there.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So that's kind of this is like a little secret thing. And it's a little like, I don't know, what do you want to call this? Like, it's a little Metroid in style.
Yeah.
Where the game's got elements where it's like, okay, well, it doesn't tell you what you need, but you can start earning various tools that allow you to start taking on certain bosses.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that before you showed up, Baltimore. The way that they told the lore by the weapons,
Yeah.
and stuff in Dark Souls 3 is really cool. Yeah. Dark Souls 3, though, I think, in terms of like the world, the levels of difficulty, the area variations that you went through, and the DLCs were really good as well. The Ashen one, and then what was the last? There was the one where you and I played through, where you were in like a snowy.
The snow.
And what the hell was the other one? Oh, it was. It expanded on the end of the game, as far as I remember. I'd have to look back up what it was. It was so long ago, but I mean they were done really well. And then they have these like not chalice dungeons. Well, they were called chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, but then they had like these other areas where it just like, I don't know, it puts you through like different challenges, right? Oh, you're going towards the... Yeah, this is a cool part.
I forgot this was so close, actually.
Yeah, it's like right.
Yeah.
You don't even have to mess around with it. This is like the biggest boss in the game. In terms of like size, but not necessarily a battle boss kind of thing. Is that correct?
There's one you haven't seen.
Okay, there's one
But
bigger
yeah,
one.
there's
Okay.
you do fight him.
Right,
The snake.
right.
Yeah. So.
And he's got like his patrol route. Uh-oh. Oh, what was that?
Our machine's hitching.
Why is it hitching?
I don't know.
Well, that's a horrible area to get that happening. Oh, you know what? It might have been installing that.
Oh, that's what
that
it was. That's
thing in
what,
the background.
That's what it was doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's trying to.
We were installing the Surge too, just if we wanted to look at something else. But this is such a good game. I mean, again, game of the year. It's fun. No real reason to worry about it. Oh yeah, this is where you can hide behind the ice.
Oh.
Is it a one-hit kill?
I don't remember. It might be.
It might be. Oh, jeez.
We didn't ask him what he's happy about.
There you go.
And this is going to be where the bell is at, if I recall.
Yeah, because now you're heading up towards the next... Yep.
Yeah.
Next area. This little... What is this little thing that was in that area?
There's a...
It's like a little elf or something. Not elf, but like... I don't know what it was, but it was... Oh, this is the boss I don't like. The one up here with the...
On the horse?
On the horse. I was not too interested in that one. Just because of the difficulty. Nothing wrong with it, but as you played through the game, Brooks has beaten the whole thing. You don't have to worry about like certain things. You know you can get around it if you speed run through, or if you go this direction, or you know the route that you're supposed to take.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it a little bit more, little less challenging. Let's say that.
That's fair.
Right, because you know where you're going. You're not lost. You're not looking for the next direction to go. So there's less of a challenge in that kind of playthrough, but there's also the challenge of the enemies get no less harder. Right, so you still have to beat them with the same tactics that you know how they, or the same tactic that works. It's just not easy.
And this dude, you don't get a freebie stealth swing on him.
Right.
He's going to be tough without sound. I don't know that I'll beat him without sound. I don't.
There is not a theory, but it's been proven that the designers use a rhythm-based mechanic to their battles, which does make it a little difficult to do without sound.
Yeah, because people figured this out on it's like Dancer of the...
What was that?
The chick with the dress, the blue dress.
Something of the dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Dark Souls 3, and essentially they found out like there's a rhythm to the fighting style, and you have to find that to be able to defeat the boss. And they're all built in the same kind of idea. What was that? That's a long time ago. Dancer of the Four-Wheel Valley. And that horse is gonna work out. It almost seems like most of the bosses in this game, you just gotta be up on them. If you can. Right, this guy's a little tough because he's all over the place. But like when you're in close, you're able to do some damage. Hit him where the white dot is. Yeah, exactly. Next time.
Got greedy. We were just
Yeah,
talking about it.
That's what happens. It's so easy. So easy just to keep going.
I actually did much better than planned
Oh, yeah.
on that fight.
If you don't know, I don't know if you've played these Fixstar, but for anybody else, if you don't know, the actual ability to lock on to enemies can help and hinder you.
Did I really not get the bonfire in that area?
I think you went
Good
right past it.
job. Good job.
Yeah, you made it easily though last time. But yeah, the ability to focus in. I've watched people play these games where they don't use the focus, like where they don't focus in on the enemy. They don't use the tracking. I'm like, wow, I don't know how to do that. I don't think I've ever not been able to. I don't think I've ever tried to beat a boss without using the like lock on.
I can't name one that I did.
Yeah.
Right.
That lock on feature where you track them automatically where the white dot is, and I don't know how some people play that way. I think at Man vs. Game, I think he plays that way. He does not use the lock on.
Okay.
And it's beyond me. I don't even see the snake. Does he show back up once you get past him?
We progressed his part of the story.
That's what it is. So
Yeah.
you will not see him here again. I was like, where is he?
Yeah, and you fight him a few times in this
Okay.
game.
Because you can take his eye out here. If you fight him, you can actually take his eye out. There's actually a place you can hide, and then he comes at you, and you stab him in the eye, and it takes his eye out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I did run by that. Wow. I was gonna say, that seemed like a really big setback.
And I don't know if that taking his eye out there makes it easier to fight him later on. I never got to him. Or does something, leverages, because we've seen that in like other parts of the games where you do something within the game or you talk to a specific character, it changes the game.
Yeah.
Or you can kill some characters, some
Yes.
NPCs that you need later on to make
Yes.
Just get those swings with that thing, man.
this was the fight in the game that I basically learned that the jig was up. That this whole block parry thing, you have to engage with
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Because the first few dudes in this game, I tried to kind of brute force, so to speak. And then this is the one where it's like, okay, no, this whole blocking thing is like, not every boss you can't just rush down on.
Right. It's the check, basically. And you said there's no stealth way? You can't hit him stealth at any point, he doesn't have that.
I don't believe so. Greedy this time.
Oh, there it
That
is.
sometimes
Now you
greed
got
pays
it.
off.
Nice.
Alright, he's almost dead anyways. Or at least one of his health bars was.
Yeah, no, that was a good move. Now his tactics probably start to change up just like the other ones do a little bit.
I don't remember if this dude has a second set of moves in this
Okay.
phase. Oh no, that's what it
That was
is.
funny. So if you block too much, he's going to like be able to hook you or whatever he did there. The horse is taking the brunt of this. I think Brooks has got it down pat. I see that indicator. When you see the green indicator, if you haven't you're watching and you haven't figured that out, that's when you can throw the hook out to put some to negate the distance between you and the enemy. But you don't have to do that. Just a little bit faster, probably. Just keeps you down so much. Oh, nice. In here, it's the horse you're damaging, right? Or is it him?
nights the first time I played
Yeah,
them, and now
good
we're
job.
like
Yeah,
just sitting here
second
steamrolling the game.
Just walking them out.
I didn't mean to be quiet as posture
No,
was almost
no, no,
broken
I
there.
hear it.
So
Oh, is it? Well, the horses. Doesn't really look that sad. Mechanical barrel. I guess did we talk about the prosthetics as you upgrade it? Basically, as you defeat bosses and you get further into the game, in certain instances, you can get new abilities
yeah,
for the arm.
the other game had, I believe they called them like trick weapons.
Yeah.
Right. So this game's variant of that is you've got your arm, and then inside of that you have a concept of skills and then a concept of like add-ons.
Yes.
Basically.
And that old wood carver, you can go back and see he's the one that does the upgrades and manages them. Yeah.
Then let's see here. Does this guy have 1,000? Okay. Yeah, so those are good. I mean, this dude's got a bunch of stuff that's good,
Oh, sure.
right? And we don't really need to cure Dragon Rock because we've only died like twice.
That's a whole, yeah, did we talk about that?
I know we didn't talk about the Dragon Rod in this game.
The dragon rod affects everybody you run into.
There's an illness that
Yeah.
spreads across the game.
Called
basically.
dragon rod. And as you die, that illness reaches out further and further.
Yes.
And then you can heal everybody.
There's certain parts of the story, and this isn't a spoiler, there's certain parts of the story where you can't interact with anyone who's sick. So to move through certain objectives, like hypothetically, if we died so much, this dude could potentially be sick, and if he's sick, he can't talk, and if he can't talk, he can't tell you what to do
Right, you
next.
can't move through the game. Yeah. So then you can do this thing where it cures the dragon rot. And then everybody's kind of back to health where they can work with you or do something. But then, you know, the game is torturous. So then basically you start to die and it happens again. Or like you hit a boss that you can't get past. Like Brooks said, he fought that one that he just beat in the second try for 3 nights
Yeah.
to get through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple bosses in this game that I would wake up on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I would sit there and I played all day because some of these patterns are like, I mean, the boss fights these bosses are relatively tame compared to the later stuff, but there's stuff that's like 5-phase bosses. Each phase is 10 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
that's where
You
it gets to
know?
be like super difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then one of the other fun things that we're kind of cruising through to a certain extent right now, but there's a lot of exploring in the games, right?
Yeah, that's how you find the secret areas. Now, there are areas you can go completely past, never hit, and be able to still beat the game.
Yep. Or there's the reverse of that. There's stuff that I walk right by, and then, you know, you either hear about it or, you know, enough times walking by.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember how to. There we go. Definitely.
A little bit of drink. What was the one game? Well, Neo, it's got its own style. So Neo was that Team Ninja? No. Neo was first party Sony title.
It was a Sony exclusive done by. No, I think you're right. I think it was Team Ninja.
Was it Team Ninja?
I think so.
Yeah, Team Ninja. It does things a little bit different. It's very much in this type of setting,
Yep.
like feudal Japan, but it's not the same in terms of the way the mechanics and things work. Similar in difficulty, and you've got to open things up, but it's got its own nuances. What was the other one? God, what's the other game that we played this year that was like that? It wasn't Sekiro
That was in this setting.
in Japan, or like feudal Japan.
Well, there's Ghosts coming out
Yeah,
soon.
wasn't
It's not
there
that.
another one?
We've played a lot this year.
I tell you that it is part of a problem that. Let's see here. I had to go in and look. Well, the next game that these guys are working on is Elder Ring.
Yes.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Yep.
Not Elder Ring. Elden Ring.
Which the word on the street is it's like a Norse mythology setting,
Yes.
which sounds really cool.
Yeah, taking this type of mechanic, this type of like, what would you call it, exploration, and putting it into like Norse mythology, which already proved that it was amazing with God of War.
Right.
So
Yeah, right. Well, and then there's also the, that's right, you get your attack power boost in this. And then it's also got, I believe, George R.R. Martin is like somehow involved with like the writing and the narrative or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm not positive on this one, but. Okay, so let's see here. There we go. We want that because we want to get here. We want to have super stealth. Let's see, what are we working with here?
funny. Some people consider Death Stranding a Souls-like game.
I think of Death Stranding as an adventure game. That's
what
I
I'd
guess
think.
what I would classify that as.
There's some unique ones out there too. Like, what was that one we were playing where it was the co-op?
Co-op.
It had guns in it.
Remnant from
Remnant,
Ashes.
yes.
Yeah. Well, even the, it's funny that this genre, I think, is widely, Souls-like as a tag on Steam.
Souls-like, yeah.
Even the new Star Wars game, Fallen Order,
Yep.
borrows from the kind of exploration system, the map system.
Yeah, for sure.
How you lose XP, it drops on the ground, you got to go pick it back up.
Yep.
So, and that's one game that I have. It's a really good game. It hasn't quite hooked me the way that I know a couple of my buddies who got really into the game.
Yeah.
So let's see. So what? This is gonna be the bowl? Yeah. Is that the bowl or is it not?
Oh wow, you can barely catch a glimpse of when you move so quick. Fiery headgear.
And we probably should have not approached the bowl with no health.
Oh!
So what I was trying to do there was you have this idol that you can use that will basically, at any one point in time, you can use it to escape a fight and you'll keep the money and the XP that you have.
Oh.
And I'm not really, well, though I wasn't really that concerned with my XP because we just spent it, but what I really wanted was the money.
Gotcha.
Because the dude, after you beat the general, the guy in the tent sells a seed. You get the seed, you get a bigger health bar, which
Gotcha.
makes this fight... Oh yeah, we really hadn't bumped into Dragon Route yet. Look at that.
Sculptor's coughing now. Like they put like a... Is that a blanket or a rug?
Could be a set of blinds.
I don't know,
Could be
yeah,
like
it's
a
anything.
like a bamboo.
Just.
We had the money too. All we needed to do was get out of that fight. That's it. That sucks.
That's part of it right there. God, I'm trying to think of that other game. Maybe it was Neo. Another game that we were playing. It was super difficult. Can't remember what it was.
Okay. I mean, this game definitely, like, once
it was
you
earlier
get...
this year, I thought.
Because I remember getting to this game and you run into Lady Butterfly.
Yeah.
In that fight, people complained about the chained ogre or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Lady Butterfly shows up and
Right.
just waxed the internet the first couple of days.
Yeah. And Neo. I just couldn't think of because it's. I remember the fight with the fight that stands out in my memory is an enemy that was massive. He was big and he drank. And why can't I think of the game? Maybe it was Neo. Can't remember it any other way.
Okay.
It wasn't in Code Vein. It wasn't in this.
It couldn't have been DMC because we were just steamrolling that game.
Yeah. Which one?
DMC 5.
No, yeah, DMC. Yeah, this is a great game. We appreciate you watching and glad you enjoy it. Excellent.
This is what this developer himself, widely what I consider to be my... There's a few developers who I buy all of their games. I buy every game Remedy makes. I buy every game Kojima makes. Bungie, Rockstar, this game. All you need to say is From Software, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. It definitely makes your attention span. Captures it.
Well, you'll recall, I was not always that way with these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had gotten like Bloodborne on release, and I didn't realize what I was getting into. I had not played any game. So when I'm playing it, and I'm like, dude, you like run down the stairs. I was playing the game like Double Dragon or Ninja Turtles, having no idea of...
Because that would have been the closest thing designed to these games.
Yeah.
It's like, take on as many enemies as you can at once, you'll be fine. You get more than one in these games, they like just torture you.
I'm trying to. I know there's a. This dude is not that hard. I'm trying to remember what the hook of this fight is. I don't recall off the top of my head. And I know you have to beat him to progress, but there's a really simple way to do it. Oh, it's the firecrackers, I think. We haven't even gotten to Ashina Past, which is like a different direction on the map back there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a, well, I would say he's a character. There's a fish in this game.
Okay.
And they introduce the fish early on, and throughout the game, there is a finite amount of these scales.
This is the game then. Yes, this is the boss I'm thinking. Okay. There's further into the game, there's the thing where you're trying to get the scales. And you're in the water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is it then.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was this game, yeah. I just couldn't remember. I was like, I know there's a game in ancient Japan where you're chasing these damn fish in this lake river system.
Yes. Yeah.
There's one I couldn't get.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a little deep in the game.
I forgot how far I got in this game, but yeah, that was one of it. It was a bit in.
There's a. The point I was trying to make was there's a scattered throughout the world. There's like exactly 23 scales.
Yes.
And as you're playing the game, you can collect them and you can kind of slowly start spending them. But if you can allot all of them in the final area of the secret world, there's like it's the closest thing to like an overpowered prize where you can basically build this mask that lets you rank up your attack points infinitely.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
I always wondered what that was for.
And that's the point. And it's not really that necessary because if you can get all 23 scales and build the mask, you don't even need the attack points. But yeah, what's the mechanic on this guy? Gosh. It's something really simple. And it's not walking into me. That is not.
That's not.
It's not how you do it. Now, that isn't to say that there aren't From Software secrets.
Oh.
You had to die to find them.
That's true. Yeah, there were some really interesting things that they had put in some of these games where it's like you do it one way, you get totally different results.
So let's see. So trying to recall the path to get to the past.
Yeah, because there's some time travel in that involved.
Yeah.
Or not time travel, but like
You play through
reminiscing
memories or
whatever.
something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the rooster.
Let's see, 'cause if we go through here, there's the, I don't know that this is it, but we're gonna take a different path.
There was a way into that building, right? From the backside?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you're headed?
So let's see. So we went down here. Can't fight the dude with the confetti paper yet. The bridge. We don't. The ninja's not required to press. Or the samurai, sorry.
That hook always comes in handy, right? The last
Oh,
minute.
absolutely.
Yeah, God, there are so many things that you can go and do in this game.
Oh, yeah, this is... You could easily play this game if you went and did all 3 variations of the end path, which kind of introduce you to some different bosses in different areas. You get all the skills, you get all of the abilities, you get all the tools. You could easily put 100 hours into this game.
Yeah. All the little hidden areas. God, that's what I remember about it too.
The exploring's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they exploring in all the games. Like once you got the understanding of like you wanted to explore to find the shortcuts. Because there's shortcuts that you can open up.
Yeah.
That allow you to get to certain areas faster or allow you to get through without having to fight through as many enemies. And then at some point within your skill, you'll get much better and you'll be like, I don't care how many enemies I have to fight, bring them all on, it's just more experience.
Right.
Right? And that's when you're changing tactics. But in the beginning, you're not trying to have the same tactics. And you're basically trying to find ways through where you can get further to that next bonfire or idol without having to go back through the same amount of enemies when you reset it.
Right.
And that's where these shortcut areas come through and it starts to open the game up in different ways and you find the hidden secrets about it, right? Whether they're different levels or completely unique floors that you go to that you didn't expect were there.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that one time we were playing Dark Souls 3 and we walked into the bottom of that like cave system and like it just opened up and then it opened up even further down again and
down.
You're like,
and then like once there's like the because like then you can start breaking up the floor.
Yeah.
And then it goes down. And then it turns into like this temple.
Yeah, and you're
right.
like, how far does this thing go?
Right.
There's actually, if you go look, I think it's for Dark Souls 3 World. I think if you search for like Dark Souls 3 World map view, you can see like the zoomed out like level design
Yeah.
of what the actual whole thing looks like from the bottom to the top, and it is staggering how high and like low and how high they built the game that you traverse through. Well, good, Fixstar. Glad that you enjoyed it. We are coming towards the end. It's like 7:55. It goes pretty quick when you're enjoying a game, right? Like you're like so into.
Yeah.
But we're glad you hung out and got a chance to see this. If you hadn't seen it before, it's really good. This is why it got Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, that's all.
Yeah.
That's really the proof of the game.
You know, I have not. No one has ever, at least from Sony's side or from Software Acknowledges. I've always wondered why Sony doesn't buy them. It always seemed like a target ripe to be like, we're clawing these in for ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't done that. All right, good night, Fixstar. We'll see you next time. Next Thursday, like I said, we're going to do a different type of show where we'll go through like our top picks of the year from... I figured the way we were going to do it was kind of like some normal categories and then kind of like some future games that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, I think we were going to try to... I mean... We're going to break it up, and I think we'll probably talk about some games that were... It's not just going to be like the game we played the most.
Correct.
Or whatnot, right? Which I'm sure will make the list, but we're going to come up with a couple of interesting ways to talk about a couple games that maybe you haven't heard of, maybe didn't get as much
different perspectives.
attention, right?
Yep.
And then...
There will be one in there that I know for a fact we both agree on.
I know.
So, but we have different stances on the way it's played and, you know, the different tacks and what you enjoy about it that we can discuss. So, but yeah, we will have that next week. And that will end our 2019 year. And then obviously the next show will be the Thursday after New Year's. So that'll be like January 2nd. And then that'll start our new year of 2020. Hard to believe. Goes pretty fast. Yeah, getting around the areas in this. It does have a lot of like incline and descent, right? Kind of through it.
Well, I remember I got to a point where we were playing this game and I wasn't sure where to go next.
Right.
And you were like, did you jump down the backside? And I was like, what? And you were like, yeah, you can jump on the backside. I didn't even know about this. Because you were like, oh, did you see the snake? And I was like, snake? What are you talking about, snake? I haven't seen any snake.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to miss.
Right, yeah. And you were like, yo. And I was like, or maybe I've seen the snake. And you're like, you would know if you saw the snake.
Yeah, that snake. He is no joke. But, yeah, we'll probably call it here. I think this is a good spot. Obviously, Brooks was headed to... I don't know where you were headed to.
I was kind of just running around as we were talking.
Just running around looking at it, yeah.
So
I think we're good here, but we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We just wanted to do kind of a laid-back stream where we played something we both enjoyed, and obviously to follow up on the Game of the Year award that it got. I mean, there's obviously a reason for it. But we hope everybody has a great holiday. It will be beyond Christmas when we get back, so hopefully everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, enjoy your time together and off. Hopefully everybody gets that time off, and then we will catch you right before the end of the year, next Thursday, same time, and then, we're into 2020, a whole new decade. So, folks, until then, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.